Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're riddled with technical problems tonight. Welcome to the Championship Review Show. If you are in the feed and it looks like we are up and running correctly, then do make yourself known, get involved in the chat. I do apologise, I set it up and evidently I had it set to unlisted, so nobody could see me. So hopefully we are all go now, and we're talking Championship game week 6. We're now going into the international break, and we have new leaders up at the top of the league and 4 teams still on 2 points per game or more. Narratives kind of setting themselves up quite nicely now. Game number 1 up at the top of the league, and we said someone could make a big statement win, make some headlines. And that team was Swansea, not Leeds. It was Leeds 0, Swansea 1. Didn't see that one coming, to be honest. First v second, really big win for Swansea. 90th minute after lots of possession and a few chances for Leeds. Addy says Leeds at home, 2 goals, 8 goals away. Yeah, interesting. Routledge sneaks one in. It's a really muggy goal as well to concede after Leeds can't clear a scrambly corner back there. Incredible start from Swansea though, and Steve Cooper. 5 wins and a draw from 6. Top of the league. Huge statement victory to come and inflict their first defeat on Leeds. Richard says in the chat, how did Leeds lose that? Well, they have lost a lot of big home games. If we go back throughout just 2019, when the chips were down against Norwich and against Sheffield United, especially against Derby in those playoff games, it was the same story, wasn't it? Create chances, don't take them, and eventually lose. So let's hope that that's not a sign of things to come for Leeds, because they too had started really well. But yes, the home form now with the draw against Forest and this defeat now a little bit wobbly for Leeds. So when I saw them at the start of the month, I thought off they go. I mean, the truth is you can still get promoted and just knock down those bottom 6 teams and, you know, blow them all away. You can lose a few big games, but you certainly can't lose all of them up at the top. So big thumbs up for Swansea's start. Big thumbs up for Leeds' start, really. When you look at the points, Swansea first with 16 from 6. Well, that's outstanding. Leeds 13 from 6. If you copy that all the way through the season, you're promoted fairly easily. So maybe not time to panic for Leeds after just the one defeat, but they'll certainly want to come back with a bang. Swansea first, Leeds third. Game number 2. Someone's already mentioned Lee Bowyer in the chat, and Charlton do it again. I think I've predicted them to lose like the last 3 times, and they've just done me every single time. Reading 0, Charlton 2. Incredible stuff from Charlton. Reading miss a 1v1 in the first half. They hit the crossbar as well. 51st minute, Lecco gives Charlton the lead with a left footer and a rather helpful deflection, let's just say, into the corner. And on 80, Liam Moore has a long old grapple with Anike in the box to concede a penalty. Lyle Taylor looks very cool sticking this one in. Mr. E says, Reading fan, Charlton were very good, well organised, stifled Reading's creative players. They're doing everything right, Charlton. Yeah, Taylor looked like he was proper chilled out taking that penalty. A couple of steps, sticks it in the corner and just wanders off. He now has 5 goals this season, is in great form. They're finding a way every time now, and I've looked at a few Charlton games and thought, oh, did they get, did everything go right for them then? But after 6 of them in a row and no defeats, you've got to start saying that they're obviously just playing well. And I've been expecting it to kind of regress to the mean and fall into the middle of the table, but it's not happening. John says, didn't Puskás miss another sitter? Reading, I was getting excited about Reading. Come up short against an informed team, I guess. I still think there's far more of an upside for Reading since deadline day and that excellent 3-game week that they had, picked up a lot of points in that. I think they are trending upwards and they've got a little bit more strength now going forward this season to hopefully not be perennially in the bottom 6 like they tend to. So Charlton, fantastic, second place, 14 points from 6. What a start. Reading, 16th, 7 from 6. But I think, despite that defeat, I think trending upwards. Game number 3, West Brom 3, Blackburn 2. 5 goals in the first half here. And we've been waiting to see one of these. 25 seconds, back to the keeper, playing out from the back. Bartley sells, Sawyers, Shaw, in nicks Blackburn. Across it goes to Dack and he sticks it in. We will see this with teams seemingly being obsessed with standing their 2 centre-halves right next to their keeper and playing what are risky. I know any pass is risky if you play it badly. But yes, Andrew says that Dean Garner is fantastic. We're going to come on to him in just a second. West Brom get the equaliser. Phillips slid through by Pereira. Pereira starts this one in the 10 position ahead of Kravinovic. I was quite excited to see Pereira, and he did have an impact in this one. Through it goes. Phillips shakes off Cunningham. Cunningham probably should have done better there, but at least he didn't take him down. Could have been red carded if he had. 40th minute, the aforementioned Dean Garner. Brilliant run down the left-hand side and dink over the keeper. Really lovely goal. And he's had a real good effect since his joining West Brom on loan. Remember, he came on and scored those 2 goals against Luton, and pretty impressive here. And it is, oh God, sorry, I've missed out the second goal, excuse me. Pereira lay off to Livermore. Dean Garner actually scored the 3rd goal. He put them 3-1 up, and just before stoppage time, a real mess of a goal from a set play. Johnston spills it, and there's like 2 botched clearances in there before Bradley Johnson sticks that one in right place, right time. Second half, Blackburn have 1 disallowed, but West Brom go on and win it. So Pereira in, Dean Garner in starting. It was Kravinovic and Edwards last week. Austin in over Zahor. So Bilic has got himself a few players to choose from in that front 4. West Brom look good. Yeah, sorry, Super Leagues. Yeah, do have a sore arm. I'm just going to battle on through. Sorry if it's annoying anyone. I'm going to keep going because it's watering quite a lot. Yeah, strategy seems clear for Bilic's side. Unbeaten, 2 points per game, and game-changing options off the bench. Animation Station says Zahor never really cut it at Cardiff. I tell you what, they look like they're missing him at the moment at Cardiff, even though. Blackburn, well, they had a really bad start, didn't they? They reset, did really well, back to basics in that 3-game week, but little bit slack at the back, 3 goals against in this one. So it looks like Blackburn's best bet is to keep it tight and play pragmatically, even though their fans may not want to see that. West Brom 4th, 12 from 6, which is the, Samuel says, I like the sore eye, keep it. I'll try and keep it. It looks like it's stopped watering now. Touch wood. That's the 2 points per game for West Brom. That will do. Blackburn 17, 7 from 6. Animation Station says, where's Brereton? Not even on the bench. How much did they spend on him last season? It was like 7 million or something, wasn't it? Ben Brereton gone with Gallagher this season. And he did get a goal, didn't he, in the Carabao Cup, but not a lot else since. Game number 4 was on Sky at lunchtime as I was travelling down to watch Ipswich play. Bristol City 2, Borough 2, 4 goals shared at Ashton Gate. Both sides hit the post. 7 million for Brereton, says Trev Yellows. Goodness me. Looked like a good game, this one, from what I heard on the radio. Palmer heads in Eliasson's cross. I'm quite high on Palmer this season. I think he's going to have a really good season. Johnson went 4-4-2 and played Eliasson and Palmer on the wing, so not even in the 10 position, but lovely header. Andrew says Borough just can't seem to hold on when winning. Hold that thought, because it says in my notes pretty much exactly the same thing. McNair, who's had a good start to the season, he surges forward. His cross forces Moore to slide that one in. Big one forward. Moore misjudges it game. A couple of mistakes there from Tyler Moore. Assombalonga chases through. Nice calm finish by Assombalonga. He can be a bit erratic, but that was a great finish. Rowe, who's contributed quite a lot from left wing back and left back in this one. He does exactly what you want to see a fullback do, and as he played it out wide, gets into the box, glances the header in. So Bristol City unbeaten in 5, including that perfect 3-game week. Mad Mart says Palmer has 4 bookings already. Interesting. Maybe needs to cut that out. He's going to be the Ben Pearson of this season and be suspended for about 10 games. They're in the playoff positions, Bristol City, and the new team settled all of these guys, Afobe, Palmer, Nagy, Masengo, Moore, Bentley, all in that team and gelled, although I did just say Moore made a couple of mistakes. Some credit to Lee Johnson there. He'll be pleased, given the amount of ins and outs, to be sitting there. Robin says, are Bristol City highest scorers so far? I can probably tell you that if I glance down at the table. No, Swansea are with 12, but they're second with 11. Speaking of Borough, I think it was Andrew said in the chat, 1 win in 6. Seems like they're having good segments of games, but maybe a bit of a soft underbelly there, playing well and then conceding. I do like the continuity. What he's trying to do, if it clicks, will be good with those centre midfielders carrying the ball, inverted wingers up top. Assombalonga will always score you 15, 20 if he's in, well, probably even in a bad team, just being up there and finishing prowess. So should work, but they're not really putting the points on the board. Bristol City are, they're 5th with 11. Borough 18th, 6 from 6. If it stays at 1 point per game, you're just avoiding relegation with 46 points, aren't you? So needs a bit of a pick up there. Game number 5 I was at in Wales. Cardiff 1, Fulham 1. Big clash of styles for this one. Warnock versus Scott Parker. Fulham start well, then Cardiff kind of blunt them and stop them, man marking from goal kicks and such like, stop the play and actually take the lead. Aidan Flint, would you believe, stepping out and playing a through ball. Murphy finishes well, maybe Bettinelli should save it. They could have gone 2-0 up, and then Mitrovic equalises just before half-time. We'll give Caballero the benefit of the doubt and say a good cross. Harry Arter gets red carded in the second half. I have no doubt that if he wasn't, I think Fulham strong favourites to go on and win that game. John says, what a crap game, nodded off twice. Little Crow says, Arter really is a muppet. Yeah, he was a bit of a silly boy in that one. Be interesting to see if Harrison Reed stays in there. Whatever you say about Arter's attitude, maybe. Certainly a good player, and I think him and Kearney dovetailed in there a little bit further forward with Reed insurance behind. First time I've seen Sessegnon Mark II. He looked like a good player, and the front three will always do damage. So decent start for Fulham. They are 6th, which should probably be the minimum, shouldn't it? Playoffs minimum for Scott Parker with that first 11, you would have to say. Warnock said in the interview afterwards he doesn't know, well, I don't know what my team's going to do. They're inconsistent, which doesn't really bode well. Fulham's always a hard game. Cardiff, as usual, looked better when they didn't have the ball and they were frustrating the other team. So when it went 10 versus 11, that really didn't seem to suit them. Robin says, Premier teams taking time to adjust to the Championship. Absolutely. Animation Station says, how did Kamara get back in favour after being arrested? Well, I think Aite's just gone out today, so I think he's first reserve, let's just say. They spent a bit of money on Abubakar Kamara, didn't they? Back 6 looks fairly solid for Cardiff, but I don't know what they're doing up front, and Glatzel doesn't seem to be doing it, and Tomlin seems to have been in and out and in and out and in and out, but there you go. Joel, ask me that when we do Forest, which is just in a minute. Arvin Appiah apparently going for 8 million. That'll do the FFP a lot of good, but they did that with Oliver Burke, didn't they? Forest sold them very, very quickly, and didn't really work for Burke, took the money. Fulham 6th, 10 points from 6. Cardiff 13th, 8 from 6th. I suspect they'll probably be a bit closer than that, 7 places, when the season is ending. Forest 1, Preston 1. Preston are apparently Forest's bogey team, according to my Forest mates. But they didn't get the win here. Someone who did get a win was Billy Bowden, who completely mugged Carl Jenkinson off for that first goal. Cruyff turning him in the 6-yard box and then slotting past Samba. Craig says Forest will improve after the break. I think he might be right, actually. Uber ITFC, ask me that at the end. Yeah, that's a good question. Bolton have done a lot today, haven't they? Preston don't get the win, 79th minute. Big money Carvalho off the bench. That's how Lamouchi has been using him quite effectively, actually. Robin says Preston potential top 6 team. Yeah, they are a potential top 6 team, I agree. Preston will be disappointed not to win given that they led for nearly 40 minutes. But first away point, something to build on, position themselves out the playoffs. Animation Station says Glatzel was really good in Germany, so maybe he will come good. Warnock certainly being patient going back to the Cardiff game. Forest, no defeats since the opening day. And when you actually factor in that they've played West Brom, Leeds and Fulham already, that's actually pretty decent. So if they can now build with wins against teams in the lower echelons, I think Forest are looking good. I don't think Preston and Forest will be too far apart. I think the upside for both is probably 5th place to 8th place, around there. And if they have good seasons, they could potentially both do that. Maybe I'd have Forest edging that one. But at the moment, Preston are ahead. Preston 7th, 10 from 6. Forest 10th, 9 from 6. Trev Yellow says Forest have a bigger and more physical team now, which I think we needed. They did need to be more solid, didn't they? Good point. Well made. The QPR fan that just came in said, when are we doing QPR? Well, we're doing them right now. Sheffield Wednesday 1, QPR 2. I'm hearing rave reviews for QPR's youngsters as well. I thought Sheffield Wednesday would win this one. I thought this is the game where Wednesday's youngsters wouldn't travel well, and those experienced Championship players of Wednesday would... sorry, I think I said Wednesday's youngsters, I mean QPR's youngsters. The experienced players of Wednesday would win over, but that was not the case, and a really good win, especially given that they were behind at half-time. Stephen Fletcher, he's got a few this season, hasn't he? Tucks away the penalty left-footed. And then, really good goal, actually. Beautiful pass by Wells to play Hugo in. And Hugo surprised me the other week with that goal that he curled in with his right foot. Lovely finish here. I know the pass kind of makes it as he goes through. He runs right onto it, and it does kind of, beg him to take it around the keeper, which he does really well and sticks it in. But great play by Hugo. Really impressed with him at QPR. It shows that he was a bit blunted by that abject Pulis ball that he was playing last season. And Hugo clever for the second goal, plays the offside well, runs towards the ball from the offside position, puts his hands up, says, no, I'm not going to play this. Lets Manning take it over, gets into the box. Onside now, crossed in, and Hugo puts that one in. He has 5 for the season now, 4 goals in the last 3 for Hugo. Certainly a striker in very good form. Rangers' second away win of the season, seem to be playing well. They've only come a cropper when you look at the results against Swansea, who are top, and Bristol City, who are 5th. So nice job by Warburton. And if you look at it, if you're beating bottom half teams, losing to top 6 teams, that would position you somewhere between 7th and 12th, which I'm sure, given turnover of managers and no more parachute payments, Rangers fans would probably all be happy, especially if Eze and Bright Samuel and Chair are all developing and increasing in value there. So thumbs up, I think, for Warburton and Rangers at the moment. Sheffield Wednesday is a bit black or white at the moment. There's no draws, so it's 3 wins and 3 defeats. They're either winning or they're losing. Nothing in between. 3 defeats in the last 4, which is not good though. And 2 of the wins against newly promoted teams. Andy says Chair is the one to watch. Yeah, we will see. Came on against Ipswich. I have seen Chair play. Yeah, so Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know if I'm being pedantic here, but only the 2 wins, or 2 of the wins, excuse me, against newly promoted teams at home. So maybe they are trending downwards slightly. You tell me. Let's see what happens after the international break. Wednesday, one of those teams I usually get wrong. But sure, Animation Station says Chair becoming part of the furniture at QPR. Lovely stuff. Rangers 8th. 10 from 6. That is a good tally, that, isn't it? Wednesday 11th, 9 from 6. Game number 8, Birmingham 2, Stoke 1. Blues are going for a win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Stoke are just going for a loss, 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 loss with just 1 point on the board now. John says, God, this game hurt my eyes. 58, Stoke, they've hit the post for the umpteenth time this season. Super Lee says he would deck chair. That's the last one of those I'm reading out. Chairman of the board. And then it's a set play. They take the lead on 58. Lindsay heads home. And you think, right, are Stoke going to get their win? Are they going to get their win? Well, they obviously haven't watched Lukas Jutkiewicz for the last 2 seasons, because he scores a trademark Jutkiewicz beast bully back post header on 73. And you know your luck is out with this second goal. I'm really pleased for Jude Bellingham because he's so young, but this was a really muggy goal, wasn't it? Hits the shot low, and when you're bottom of the league, these just spin. When you're top of the league, these spin away and you launch a counter attack. When you're bottom of the league, spins off the defender and just trickles into the corner. 2 goals in 4 minutes. And Stoke lose again. My God. Uber ITFC says last year's favourites to win the league. He is dead right. I think if you check back my predictions, I've probably got them at least in the top 8. I've probably got them in the top 6 with their squad. They're utterly terrible at the moment, Stoke, aren't they? Blues very inconsistent. Too inconsistent probably to judge at the moment. Am I judging the team that lost 3-0 at Forest, or am I judging the team that seems to be winning these home games nicely? The midfield looked very peppery, let's just say, to quote my friend Harry from Bath on the Blue Monday podcast. Sonic, Villalba and Montero all starting. John says Blues should have had a penalty in their first half. Stoke, I don't know what there is left to say. After 3 or 4 games, you're looking at it and you're saying, well, the metrics are good, but they're losing. After 6 games, and you look, they're good players who just aren't performing at all. Really not looking good. It's just a real judgment call now, because you can take the manager out and it can change stuff. Can leave the manager there and the change can take place. But does that new manager then want new players, and who are you going to get? And there's no transfer window, and what do you do? But not going well at all. Going to be an interesting fortnight in the Stoke City boardroom. I think they've got some come to Jesus meetings to do. I think John says Stoke were terrible. Even Joe Allen looked shocking. Yeah, that one that came off the post, I thought Allen was going to stick that one straight in, but horrible touch. And yeah, good player, Allen. Shouldn't be playing like that. Blues 9th, 10 points from 6. That's decent, and they are winning games. Stoke 24th, 1 point from 6. Horrible start from Stoke. Game number 9, Millwall 1, Hull 1. Wallace gives Millwall the lead from the spot. I think Big Smith got taken down. 18, I don't know, let me know in the feed. Does Grzycki mean this free kick? It's way out. It's brilliant technique to whip the ball and curl it with that pace, but maybe my old mate Bart in goal might be a bit culpable, but certainly flew in. If he meant that, brilliant from Grzycki, but still great technique either way around. This one ends 1-1. Millwall have cooled off a little bit since that really strong start of theirs. No wins in 3, but only 1 defeat all season for Millwall. I think they look solid, and I think they've got more depth than really ever before. Animation Station thinks Grzycki didn't mean that. He's not Ronaldinho. Yeah, so I think Millwall trending upwards, I would say. Hull need a win. They're down to 20th. No wins in 4. Not scoring as either. They're scoring at a rate of a goal a game, which doesn't really give you much margin for error. Robin says Millwall mid-table. I think they would take that. Building nicely, I think, Neil Harris. Been there a while now. Aren't there rumours Huddersfield going after Harris? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Certainly be a change of style, let's just say. So Hull need a win. So much reliance on Bowen and Grzycki. They can't both do it every game, can they? Surely not. Millwall 12th, 9 from 6. Decent start, and I like what I'm seeing there. Super Lee says he read Bowyer. I read that linked with Huddersfield as well. Hull 20th, 5 from 6. Not great. And another team with a not great tally is Derby County at the moment. Brentford 3, Derby 0. I looked at this before the game. A little crow says Huddersfield might be better off with Monk. That's probably a good shout. He's really good in this league, Monk, isn't he? When I looked at the Brentford Derby game, I thought someone, if they lose this, is going to end up going into international break with way fewer points than their supporters would probably want after 6 games, and it is in fact Derby. Quick double in the first quarter of this game. Benrahma, lovely turn, feeds Watkins. His shot gets cleared and put in by Mbuemo, his first goal. And then another one a minute later, brilliant goal. This Kanyos is playing wing back, amazingly. I don't know how his defensive work looks, but he strides forward. Certainly, upside of him playing wing back is in these positions. Forward it goes to Mbuemo, lovely cross to Watkins, who taps it in. Chris says Sergi Canos at wing back was brilliant, interesting, very, very interesting. That's the most like Brentford thing in the world to put him there. 45 killed it off before half time. A second one for Watkins, bit of a muddly one from a set play. Interesting. So 3-0. Brentford looking much, much better in front of goal. I questioned whether Watkins down the middle would be okay. Well, he's got 4 goals in 6 games, but do we need to just look over to his left and see that this is Benrahma's first start? So maybe that's the catalyst. We know it's probably going to be a big season for Benrahma, and probably he's going to be sold for 18 million or something next summer. But this is the Brentford team now. They're settled. Raya's in, Jansen's in, Norgard, Jensen and Buemo over to the right. Can Brentford not tease me now and go on and actually be consistent and have a good push and not faff around and lose silly home games when you expect them to win? I really want to see them go for it now. And that front three, and Buemo, Watkins and Benrahma on their day, that should be really, really good, shouldn't it? Derby are now officially struggling, aren't they? Other than that first win at Huddersfield, where I thought they were pretty decent, actually. 3 draws and 2 defeats. I do not know what's going wrong. Animation Station says because Matt Clark hasn't been starting. He's been on the bench, hasn't he? Bielik. Adam says Benrahma to Arsenal for 60 million in Jan. I'm sure they'd sign that deal right now if it's 60 million, put it that way. Crazy money. Maybe if Waghorn scores one of those 2 penalties that he's missed in those games, things would be different. Or are Derby just missing Mount and Wilson? Mount and Wilson were really, really good. Now you see them both playing and scoring in the Premier League. Koku needs some results, doesn't he? At their best, they look a nice kind of European team. At their worst, they look a little bit stiff and static, Derby. You know, I've seen them twice, so who knows? Brentford 14th, 7 from 6, and now Benrahma's in, and at the front three, like I said, 2 centre mids started, and if Sergi Canos is going to turn into Danny Alves down the right, we'll say that they can trend upwards, but Derby, definitely the trend is downwards, isn't it? I still think he's trying to figure out up front as well. Marriott and Waghorn both in, but unless you play an orthodox front two, one of them is not at their best playing to either side. So Derby 19th, 6 from 6. Super League says, did I have a good birthday? I did. Where I live here in Bedfordshire, I went to Woburn Safari Park with my missus and her brother, and it was delightful. Thank you, Super Leagues, for asking. Game number 11, Luton 2, Huddersfield 1. Back-to-back wins for Luton, who... Sorry, my friend Mr. Dorr is in the chat, a Forest fan. He's laughing at Derby. That's very unkind, Mr. Dorr. And karma can be a bitch if it comes back on you. John says Benrahma to Villa in January. Dean Smith, I think, sniffing around in the summer. Do you not get the impression they've done what Fergie did with Ronaldo with Benrahma and said, look, everyone else has gone, you have to stay the whole season and we'll sell you in the summer. We'll see. Money talks. Anyway, let's talk about Luton, who've won back-to-back games after only 1 point in the first 4. Couple of near misses in those games. So pleased for Luton here. Animation Station asking about Keogh at Forest. Don't know what happened there. If anyone in the chat knows, smarten me up. Huddersfield take the lead after half time. Grant does keep scoring. One thing going right for them That's his 4th of the season after Luton could not clear a free kick. Little Crow says Luton deserve more points than they have. I agree with that. I really do. And I was at their first game against Borough. I thought they were really great. I thought they really went for it. Really quick in transition as well, especially out of midfield. I like them a lot, actually. Collins sticks a penalty in his 3rd of the season. And superb goal by Shinnie. Gets it out of his feet outside the box. Curls with the left foot in. Robin says settled team. Settled system, I think, is the more important thing. They played my team, Ipswich, in the Carabao, changed a load of players, but played exactly the same way. So quite well drilled, ironically, by Nathan Jones, who is doing so terribly. John says he feels Luton play good stuff, but it won't be enough. That would be sad, wouldn't it? So Luton get the win, coming on nicely. They're probably not going to want to hear it, but if you're going to be in that bottom 8, back-to-back wins is so vital. And I can say this from watching the bottom of the league and my team Ipswich all of last season. Back-to-back wins will literally buy you about 3 game weeks. No, 4, 5 game weeks down the bottom there. Because teams just pick up points so slowly, less than a point per game down the bottom. So if you win 2 in a row, you are laughing. Although Luton fans will probably think they want to, be aiming for somewhere in the middle. Just really good to do at any time in the season. And I think they're competitive at this level. And I hope John in the chat is wrong, and it is enough because they do play in a nice way actually. Luton, Huddersfield, it seems fairly obvious what the issue is here. Struggling with Jan Siewert, got rid of him. I think it's been 4. Did they play the whole 3 game week with no manager? I think they did, didn't they? So I think they've pretty much played 4 games without a manager. So they really need to get someone in. The guys in the feed have been saying Bowyer's been linked, Monk has been linked, Harris has been linked. Huddersfield need a new manager. Luton 15th, 7 from 6, that'll do. Huddersfield 23rd, 1 from 6, that certainly will not do. And finally, Barnsley 0, Wigan 0, both sides probably happy just not to lose this one, aren't they, after recent result. Looked pretty tight looking at the XG, so probably a fair one. Wigan, I say, always will be happy to pick up an away point because they tend to lose quite a few away games. Both teams on poor runs as well. Excuse me, I'm just getting the questions up down here. Barnsley 2 points in 5, Wigan 1 point in 5. After both won on the opening day as well. Barnsley 21st, 5 points from 6. Wigan 22nd, 4 points from 6. Robin says, who has the best defence? Wigan were at home, weren't they? Sorry, I got that one the wrong way around. Thank you, John. Who has the best defence? Interesting. I don't know what the goals against says, but it's often not the teams you think. It's teams that keep the ball for like 80% of the game because they actually don't concede many chances because they're so high in possession. We will do questions in just a sec. I will just do the individual stuff. Top scorers now. Baston was out front with 5, wasn't he? Now he's been caught up. Taylor, Mitrovic and Hugill always all scoring this week, so they're all on 5. Key passers, Swift, Klitsch and Bannon still out front as the most creative players in the league. Animation Station, who's been in the chat, asked about Bersant Salina as surprise player for the year. Good call. That wouldn't actually be a surprise to anyone who's an Ipswich fan because definitely a player in there, and old Mick struggled and argued to stop him doing step-overs in his own final third and not taking risks and not dribbling. I think having that kind of manager helps in moderation, but I also think that having Steve Cooper, who seems a bit more outgoing in terms of the style, will help Selena as well. So yeah, he could be a standout player in what looks like a very good Swansea team this season. If anybody has any questions, fire them away in the chat and we will do those. As always, I'll plug my Twitter at Benjamin Bloom and I'll say hit the subscribe button. Should get into a rhythm now. Mondays and Thursdays, I'm going to try and do Mondays and Thursdays at 7, the review on Monday and the preview on Thursday. You can support on Patreon. Let's have a look here. John says, if Bellingham continues, going to be some breakthrough season. They've got to use him sparingly, though, haven't they? Joe Garner to Barnsley. Yeah, interesting. Probably suit, wouldn't he? Harrison or Costa? I personally don't like Harrison. Yeah, I think I'd go with Costa. Someone asked in the chat there, although I will say about Harrison and Costa, Bielsa loves Harrison, doesn't he? I think he really follows instructions and all these minutiae and these details that Bielsa gives. I think Harrison's very good at them. But you can see if Leeds start to struggle, Costa coming in there. Do I watch internationals? No, I don't. Only at World Cup time, I'm afraid. League One question. Thoughts on Bolton's business today? Yeah, Bolton have signed Josh Emmanuel from Ipswich permanently and Daryl Murphy as well. So a couple of Ipswich links. Yeah, probably. I'm glad my team's already played Bolton by the look of it because strengthened up quite nicely. Robin says Leeds should start in Cater, I think, there instead of Bamford. Yeah, still some question marks on Bamford in the big games. Have they got a player? Remember, we had those players last year. Pookie, Sharp, Adams, Mopai did tend to score in the big games. Bamford is good. He scores goals. There's Jaggy Babs. Harrison is the issue. No goals and no assists. Not putting the numbers on the board. Jack Harrison there. Bielsa does love him though, doesn't he? But yeah, you're possibly right. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. Robin says, Bamford not clinical enough. Would I change my predictions for promotion and relegation? Yes, I think I had Charlton bottom in my predictions. I'll revisit my predictions probably halfway through the season. Apparently Southampton fans moaning about Adams. God, must have only played about 3 games, mustn't he? He's going to be a good player, Adams. Need to be a bit more patient with him and play to his strengths. Yes, yeah, I will revisit my predictions. Those things are an absolute nightmare, though. I challenge anybody to do a 1 to 24 and not embarrass themselves like I'm probably going to. But yeah, I think the two that have caught most people out so far are probably Charlton and Stoke, aren't they? Most people would have had Stoke in the top 8 at least, and Charlton down the bottom. Bristol City game was great. Yeah, it did look like a good one. It's a good place to go and watch football. Animation station. John says, don't predict anything until Christmas. Frankly, I could do the predictions. I would have put my mortgage on Leeds going up at the last international break, but yeah, then they didn't, did they? So don't think even predict them 10 games from the end in the Championship. But right, thank you everybody for watching. Any ideas for videos, get them in the comments. Or tweet them to me. Someone asked about the Ipswich podcast. I had a computer malfunction yesterday, so that will probably go up on the YouTube channel on Wednesday after they play Spurs under 21s in the illustrious EFL Leasing Trophy. That is the joys of being in League One, all you Championship fans. So, but at the moment, if everything stops now, Ipswich are going to be back, and we can link everything up again in David Brent fashion. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Right, I've said goodbye about 3 times. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Please come back on Thursday. Oh no, it's international break. Not this Thursday, next Thursday. Please come back for the predictions. And being as it is international break, let me know any ideas of any videos you want to see. Thank you very much for the kind words. And I will see you all very soon. Over and out.